Nia's life revolved around her younger sister, Ada. In their small village nestled near the edge of the sacred forest, Ada's laughter was a melody everyone cherished. But one fateful evening, Ada collapsed, her body riding with fever. The village healer tried every herb, every chant, but Ada's condition worsened by the hour. Her frail frame struggled against an unseen force, and despair hung heavy in the air. Nia's mother wept silently, her face lined with worry, while villagers whispered rumors of curses and ancient punishments. "The forest holds answers," the healer finally muttered, his voice trembling. "But entering it is forbidden." Nia's heart clenched as she gazed at Ada's pale face. Forbidden or not, she would do anything to save her sister. At dawn, Nia stood at the forest edge, gripping a small dagger and a pouch of offerings. The sacred forest was a realm of myths and legends. No one who entered ever returned. With a deep breath, she stepped into the dense greenery, each step pulling her further from safety. The forest was alive, trees whispered secrets, and shadows danced in unnatural patterns. As she moved deeper, Nia felt a presence, an invisible force observing her. She stumbled upon a clearing, where an ancient altar stood, carved with serpent-like patterns. A hiss echoed through the air. "Who dares disturb my domain?" a voice boomed. A massive serpent emerged from the shadows, its scales shimmering like emeralds in the dim light. Nia froze, her heart pounding. The deity's golden eyes pierced her soul. "I am a conjuror, guardian of this forest," it declared. "Why have you come?" Nia fell to her knees, trembling. "My sister is dying. I seek a cure." A conjuror called closer, inspecting her. "Life demands sacrifice," it hissed. "Are you willing to pay the price?" Though fear threatened to paralyze her, Nia nodded. "Whatever it takes." A conjurer's gaze darkened. "The sacrifice I demand is your freedom. You will serve me eternally as my voice among mortals." Nia's mind raced. Her freedom, her life, everything she knew, was this worth it? She thought of Ada, her laughter and light. The choice was no choice at all. "I accept," she whispered. A conjuror smiled, revealing fangs as sharp as blades. The deity pressed its forehead to hers, and a searing pain coursed through her body. "It is done," a conjuror declared. "Return to your village. Your sister will live. But you belong to me now." When Nia returned, Ada was sitting up, her cheeks flushed with color. The villagers gasped, crowding around her, asking how she had done it. Nia smiled faintly but said nothing. Deep inside, she felt a strange new power thrumming through her veins, a connection to the forest and a conjure. But as days passed, Nia realized she had changed. Her senses were heightened, she could hear whispers of the wind and feel the heartbeat of the earth. The forest called to her, and a conjurer's voice echoed in her mind, reminding her of her vow. One night, as Nia slept, a vision consumed her dreams. She saw the village surrounded by darkness, their crops withering, their laughter replaced by cries. "Your people's fate is tied to you," a conjurer's voice intoned. "Prepare them, or they will perish." Nia woke in a cold sweat. What did this mean? She hesitated to share the vision, afraid of how the villagers would react. But the heaviness in her chest told her she couldn't ignore the warning. She resolved to learn more about her newfound powers. Nia returned to the forest, seeking a conjurer's guidance. "You are my emissary," the deity explained. "Through you, balance will be restored." But balance comes with struggle. Nia practiced harnessing her powers, learning to communicate with the elements and understand the natural world's secrets. A conjuror revealed that the village's prosperity had angered the forest spirits, who now demanded retribution. "Only you can mend this rift," a conjuror warned. Nia's heart ached, knowing the burden she bore would not be easy to carry. When Nia returned to the village, she shared her vision with the elders. They laughed nervously, dismissing her as a girl with wild dreams. But strange things began happening, livestock vanished, crops failed, and children fell ill. Fear spread like wildfire. "Nia warned us," someone cried. Slowly, the villagers turned to her, desperate for answers. Though she felt unprepared, Nia stepped into her role, knowing she could not fail her people. A conjurer instructed Nia to perform a ritual to appease the spirits. It required the entire village to participate, offering their most precious possessions. Only together can you restore harmony, a conjurer said. Convincing the villagers was no small task. Through impassioned pleas, Nia reminded them of their love for the land and each other. Reluctantly, they agreed. The night of the ritual was filled with chants and offerings, and as dawn broke, the village felt a shift, a sense of peace returning. With the ritual complete, the village flourished once more, but Nia knew her journey was far from over. She had become more than a sister, more than a villager. She was a bridge between the mortal world and the divine. As Nia stood at the forest edge, she felt both fear and hope. Her sacrifice had transformed not only her destiny but also the fate of her people. And though her path was uncertain, she knew she would face it with courage and the strength a conjurer had given her. This story weaves together Nia's sacrifice, growth, and triumph over adversity, capturing her journey in compelling detail. Let me know if you'd like to expand any chapter further. Nia woke one morning to find a mark etched onto her arm, a cold serpent glowing faintly with emerald light. The villagers regarded it with awe and fear, whispering that it was the touch of the divine. A conjurer's voice echoed in her mind, "The mark is your bond to me. Through it, you will draw strength, but it is also a reminder. Your fate is sealed." She felt the power coursing through her, but it came with an ache of isolation. The villagers revered her, yet they began to keep their distance, unsure of how to approach someone they now saw as more spirit than human. Even Ada, once her closest companion, hesitated before hugging her sister. One day, a stranger arrived in the village, cloaked in black and carrying a staff carved with strange symbols. He introduced himself as Okoye, a traveler and seeker of sacred truths. His piercing gaze lingered on Nia. "You carry a heavy burden," he said. "The mark of a conjurer binds you, but do you truly understand its cost?" Nia was taken aback. She had always focused on what she had gained, her powers and her sister's life. She hadn't considered the deeper implications. Okoye spoke of ancient tales, of mortals who served deities and became their pawns. "You must find your own path," he urged, "or risk losing yourself entirely." A conjurer sensed Nia's doubts and summoned her to the forest. "The stranger fills your mind with questions," the deity hissed. "Do you not trust me, your savior?" Nia struggled to answer. She owed the conjurer everything, yet she couldn't ignore the seeds of doubt Okoye had planted. A conjurer set a test before her. To prove her loyalty, she had to banish an invading clan that threatened the forest's balance. Their encampment was deep within the sacred woods, their fires burning and weapons scouring the earth. Nia hesitated, but the mark on her arm burned, compelling her forward. She led the villagers in a confrontation, using her powers to summon vines and storms. The invaders fled, but the victory left her feeling hollow. Was she a protector, or a weapon? The villagers celebrated the triumph, but cracks in their unity began to show. Some saw Nia as a savior, while others feared her growing power. "She wields the forest rat," one elder murmured. "What if one day, she turns it on us?" Nia overheard these whispers, and they cut deeply. She had sacrificed so much for her people, yet they doubted her intentions. Even Ada seemed torn, caught between love for her sister and the fear of the unknown. A conjurer, sensing her despair, whispered, "Mortals are fickle. You must rise above their doubts. You serve a greater purpose." But Nia couldn't help wondering, was she losing her humanity in the process? Okoye, still lingering in the village, approached Nia with an ancient scroll. "This contains knowledge of the bond between mortals and deities," he explained. "But reading it comes at a cost." Desperate for answers, Nia opened the scroll. Its text glowed with an unnatural light, and her mind filled with visions. She saw glimpses of her future, her mark glowing brighter, her powers consuming her, and the villagers bowing to her in fear. She saw herself alone, her ties to humanity severed. A conjurer's voice roared in anger, "You dare seek answers beyond me. You tread a dangerous path, child." The visions ended abruptly, leaving Nia shaken. Was this her fate, or could she change it? The visions weighed heavily on Nia, and her unease spread to the villagers. Factions began to form, those who believed in her divine purpose and those who feared her as a harbinger of doom. The tension came to a head during a village council meeting, where accusations flew like arrows. "She saved us once," one villager argued. "She can save us again." "But at what cost?" another countered. "How long before she turns on us?" Nia stood silently, her heart heavy. She realized that she could no longer rely on words alone to bridge the growing divide. Action was needed, but what kind? As the villagers bickered, the forest grew restless. Trees groaned, rivers overflowed, and animals fled their habitats. It was as if the land itself was reflecting the discord among the people. A conjure summoned Nia once more. "You have failed to maintain balance," the deity growled. "Your indecision threatens everything." Nia pleaded for more time, but a conjure was relentless. "Prove your loyalty, or I will take matters into my own hands." Nia felt trapped. If she acted too harshly, she would lose her people's trust. If she hesitated, she would face a conjure's wrath. The weight of her choices threatened to crush her. "Let me know if you'd like me to continue further." This ongoing narrative explores Nia's struggles with identity, loyalty, and her role as a mediator between the mortal and divine realms. Nia wrestled with her thoughts through a sleepless night. The visions from the forbidden scroll replayed in her mind, the loneliness, the power, the fear. She could not allow that future to come to pass. She had to find a way to reconcile her duties to a conjure with her responsibility to her people. At dawn, Nia approached Okoye. "You've seen more than you let on," she said, her voice steady. "If there's a way to unbind this mark, I need to know." Okoye hesitated, then nodded gravely. "There is a way, but it is perilous. To unbind yourself, you must face the source of the deity's power, a relic hidden deep within the forest." Nia's heart raced. Confronting a conjure's power felt like betrayal, but she couldn't ignore the growing divide in her village. She needed her freedom to act as a true leader, unbound by divine manipulation. Guided by Okoye, Nia ventured into the forest once more. The air grew colder and heavier with each step, as if the forest itself disapproved of her journey. They reached an ancient temple overgrown with vines, its entrance guarded by intricate carvings of snakes. Inside, the air was thick with magic. At the center of the temple lay the relic, a gem that pulsed with the same emerald glow as the mark on Nia's arm. The moment she stepped closer, a conjure's voice boomed through the chamber. "You dare defy me?" The deity's form materialized, its cold body blocking the exit. "You are mine, Nia. Do not forget the life I spared for you." Nia stood her ground, her heart pounding. "I will always honor the life you saved," she said, her voice steady. "But my people need a leader, not a servant of the forest." A conjure hissed, its golden eyes narrowing. "You betray me, as all mortals do. I should never have trusted you." The mark on her arm burned fiercely, and Nia felt her power surging. The relic amplified the connection between her and a conjure, creating a vortex of energy. The chamber shook as vines lashed out and lightning sparked across the room. "Stop this!" Okoye shouted, shielding himself. But Nia knew the battle was hers alone. She reached for the relic, feeling its energy clash with her own, and cried out as the power threatened to tear her apart. As Nia gripped the relic, her mind filled with images of her past, present, and possible futures. She saw Ada's laughter, the villagers' trust, and the isolation her bond with a conjure had brought her. Her voice rose above the chaos. "I am more than this bond. I choose my own destiny." With a final surge of will, she shattered the relic. A deafening roar filled the chamber as a conjure's form dissolved into mist. The mark on Nia's arm faded, leaving behind a faint scar. The silence that followed was both eerie and liberating. Okoye approached cautiously. "You've done it," he said, awe in his voice. But Nia knew this was only the beginning of a new challenge, leading her people without divine intervention. When Nia emerged from the temple, the forest felt different, calmer, almost grateful. The winds carried whispers of gratitude, and the trees seemed to bow slightly as she passed. Without a conjurer's looming presence, the forest began to heal, its balance restored. Returning to the village, Nia found the people waiting anxiously. They gasped when they saw the faded mark on her arm. "What does this mean?" an elder asked. "It means we are free," Nia said. "But freedom comes with responsibility. We must live in harmony with the land, not take it for granted." Her words carried a newfound authority, and the villagers nodded in understanding. Though the villagers celebrated Nia's return, trust was not instantly restored. Some still feared her powers, while others doubted her decision to sever the bond with a conjurer. Nia worked tirelessly to prove herself, leading efforts to repair the damage caused by the forest fury. She encouraged the villagers to plant new crops, mend their homes, and honor the forest through rituals of gratitude rather than fear. Slowly, the community began to heal, their faith in Nia growing stronger with each passing day. Ada was the first to embrace her sister fully again. "You've always been my hero," she said, tears in her eyes. Nia held her tightly, feeling the weight of her sacrifices finally lift. Nia transformed into a leader unlike any the village had seen before. She guided with compassion and wisdom, drawing strength not from divine power but from her connection to her people and the land. The villagers came to respect her not as a savior but as one of their own. The forest, too, seemed to thrive under this new balance. Animals returned, rivers ran clear, and the air buzzed with life. Nia often visited the forest, feeling its pulse but no longer hearing a conjurer's voice. The silence was comforting, a sign of true freedom. Years later, Nia stood at the edge of the forest with Ada and Okoye by her side. The village had flourished, its people living in harmony with the land. Children played freely, unaware of the sacrifices that had secured their future. "Do you ever miss the power?" Okoye asked. Nia smiled. "It wasn't the power that saved us. It was love, trust, and the courage to choose my own path." Her legacy was not one of divine servitude but of unity and resilience. And as the sun set over the sacred forest, Nia knew her destiny was not shaped by a deity, but by the strength of her own heart.